We are in Topeka, Kansas tonight. That sun is just blazing down. There's always something going on with this RV. It reminds me of one of those train car diners. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And the electric just went out.
Let's sit in the car.
And the power is back on. Woo! Guess what just happened?
Power just went out.
I got sweat pouring into my eyeballs. Picking up where we left off in the last episode, we are in Topeka, Kansas tonight. It is almost midnight. We rolled in here about 4 o'clock. It was over 100 degrees outside, and it literally took until about 10:15 for it to cool down enough where it was tolerable. You know, we never know what to expect on these trips, but there's always things going wrong. So we survived the night. It's about 8:30 right now, but it is already hot out here. That sun is just blazing down. How crazy. Our neighbors left early this morning. Their rig was really loud. It sounded more like a semi. But last night I was talking about how there's always something going on with this RV. If you remember, I said that this light over here was out, so I need to get a new bulb. It's not completely out, it's just dying, so I need to get a new bulb. But as we pulled in here yesterday and I got out to set things up, I noticed this light, the bulb is just hanging down here. What in the world? That would have had to pop out while we were driving yesterday, hitting some of these bumps. You know, when you're driving down the highway, you're like bouncing down the highway. You're driving an entire house, and every bump you hit, you're bouncing and rocking around. So that is the first thing that I need to fix here before it gets too hot and before we get on the road. And that drip right there, if you're concerned about that, is only from the air conditioner. It runs along the side here and then drips down to there. So it's supposed to be over 100 again today. We only have about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more to drive. We're going from Topeka down to, it's called Wellington. It's just below Wichita. Get some videos done for the other channel and just have kind of a break from traveling every single day. There's always a billion things to get ready before we go. We have to pick up anything that could fall off the counters while we're driving. We got to pull in the slides, pull out the jacks, turn off the power, unhook the sewer, the water, the electric, and then we can finally roll out. So we're having dinner tonight at this little place called Penny's Diner. Look how awesome this place looks. We're eating inside because it is so god-awful hot out here. It's like 100 degrees right now, but look at this. They have an awesome little patio out here, and I love how it looks from the front here. This is so cool. If we ever do like a Route 66 trip, I know we're gonna see a lot of awesome stuff like this. Take you in and show you how it looks in here. Open 24 hours. So I'll just show you this end because there's people down at the other end, and this is where we're sitting right over here. We already ordered, but we got some Pepsis and we got some sandwiches coming. But look at this place. How cool is this? I half expect Biff to show up in here. It reminds me of one of those train car diners, actually. Look at all the cool pictures on here. Dance with Dick Clark, golden record. And you always see stuff like this in these little diners, these signed pictures from celebrities. So that's just a quick look at Penny's Diner here. We're gonna go ahead and sit down and have our dinner here. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. What did you get, love?
A Reuben.
Reuben and onion rings. And I got a Frisco melt and fries. delicious. And the electric just went out. Our light is on, and that's because we have battery backup, but we were sitting here looking at things on the internet, planning out our day for tomorrow, and all of a sudden, the electric shut off. I don't know if it's the electric from the entire park, but now I have to go outside and figure that out. I'll tell you what, I could not ask for this series to be more interesting. Okay, so apparently it's the electric at the whole park. This is where we're at right here. We got it down to 80 degrees, and the only reason is because we are under shade. We are the only place in the entire park that is under shade. So we have it down to 80 degrees inside there right now. All the neighbors are out because their electric went off too. So now we have to figure out what's going on with the park that all the electric is off. And honestly, I'm not too worried about it because if it is off, I'm going to a hotel. So I'm back inside, sweating bullets. The feet on the couch over here are stuck up. We can't put them down because they need electric. And the temperature is rising in here again. The guy who runs the park just came over to everybody who was standing outside. And he said, it sounds like a Wellington problem. That's the area that we're in. So he's trying to figure that out, you know, what's going on, why we don't have any power. So meanwhile, I was sitting here looking up like some hotels, some casinos, somewhere else we could go. Because, man, it is hot. There's no way we can sit in here for too long and just hope that the electric comes back on. And then the lovely lady says,
Let's sit in the car.
that is definitely a good option. So you can see over here, I unplugged our electrical cord just so that if it comes back on, there's not a surge and it doesn't damage anything. But I feel bad for the guy walking around the park trying to fix the problem because it is so hot out there. All right, I'm getting out of the cool car here for a minute. The guy who's running the park just came up. Oh my gosh. And told me that they're working on the stuff over here. It should be back up in about a half an hour. You can see there's a truck right there, electrical truck. And I don't know what the deal is, but the guy's over there at the pole working on the problem. So we ought to be back in there pretty soon here. So like seconds after this happened, there was a guy who pulled into the third site over here, and they've already left. The neighbors have pulled away and they're sitting somewhere else in their truck cooling down. And props to the guy who runs the park here at the KOA, because he did offer to let us go to a completely different part of the park that is not having these electrical problems. But we opted just to stay right here because it is the best spot in the entire park. It's the only spot in the entire park that has any shade. So once they get the electric back on, it will cool down there pretty dang quick inside. And apparently that's going to be pretty quick. So I'm going to go back over here, get back in the car with the little lady in the cool air. And once the electric is back on, we'll be back in the RV there. And the power is back on. Woo! So while we were out there, it went back up to 92 degrees in here. But we will just leave the lights off, the shades all pulled, and since we're under the shade, it'll cool down pretty quick in here, and we'll be back down to 80 in no time. So it is 8:37 p.m., and guess what just happened?
The power just went out.
Just went out again. What the heck? I'm sitting on the pot. And, and the power goes out. We got it cooled down to 73 in here. The power went out. And immediately I'm starting to sweat again. So now we have to make that decision. We going to the casino, or are we going to stay here and chance it happening again through the middle of the night? Okay, so we're at a toss-up point right here. We have half our stuff packed to go down the road to a hotel. The guy came over and said that he called them and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's literally been about 20 minutes that it's been off, and it started up and came back on. I got sweat pouring into my eyeballs. So now we're just trying to decide, do we go ahead and go to the hotel and not risk it happening again? Because remember, I sleep with a CPAP. If that goes off in the middle of the night, I can't breathe, and I have this thing blocking my face from breathing, so I wake up gasping like I'm going to die. And the fact that it just randomly came back on, I mean, it's like I said, it's only been 20 minutes. They haven't had any time to like get guys out here to fix anything. It just came back on just as quickly as it died. So we don't know what to think. I think we're going to give it a little bit. We have half our stuff packed, And if it goes out again, we pack the other half and get out of town quick. So it went out again. We were sitting here on the couch. There's a knock at the door. I got up to answer the door, and as I was putting my foot down on the couch died and the power went out. It was the guy who runs the park. He said they were here to work on it, so they shut it down again, and it took about an hour, almost an hour and a half, I think, before the power finally came back on again. We just ditched the hotel idea, just thought, whatever, we'll just deal with whatever this is. And so it's back on now. It's about 10:30 now, p.m., so we're getting ready to go to bed pretty soon here. I can't even imagine what tomorrow will bring.